Lando Norris's storm from 17th on the grid to finish 5th in the Mexico City Grand Prix was nothing short of impressive, but how did he do it? Let's review the strategy, data and lap times from Lando's Mexico City Grand Prix. The weekend got off to a difficult start for the McLaren driver after he failed to get out of Q1 due to making a costly mistake between turns 7 and 9 and another in turn 12. Lando ended the session in P19, but Lance Stroll opting for a pit lane start and Yuki Tsunoda's power unit penalty promoted him to 17th. McLaren chose to start Lando on a soft tyre, and he was the only driver who finished in the top 10 to do so. He made up places to P15 in this first stint, and then boxed on lap 12 to switch to the hard tyre. His pace in the second stint was varied due to traffic, but he was able to overtake Alonso, Stroll, Bottas and Albon to be P8 on track at the point of Kevin Magnussen's hefty crash. This incident brought out the full safety car prior to the race being red flagged, and in this safety car period, McLaren chose to bring Lando in to switch to the medium tyre to take advantage of the reduced pit loss under the safety car, despite believing it could have been too early. Crucially, this call dropped Lando to P10, which at the restart meant he was on the dirty side of the grid. This affected his start once the race was green flagged again and saw him drop to P14 by the exit of turn 2. From here is where Lando's pace was really set alight, and consistent lap times in the low 123s and 122s on the medium tyre in this final stint saw him race through the field to end the day in 5th position. The red flag and subsequent standing restart was not ideal for many drivers up and down the field, as tyre choices were extremely limited due to A, the compounds available at that point of the weekend, and B, the fact that there was still just over half the race distance remaining, meaning the soft, even a new one, was not really an option. One driver Lando Norris battled with in the race's closing stages was Daniel Ricciardo, who only had a hard tyre remaining for the restart and final stint. Strategists from different teams believed that the hard tyre would eventually win out in this last stint given the high temperatures and long way to go, with predictions being that the medium's pace would fall off around lap 50. But by comparing the medium and hard tyre pace through Lando and Daniel's lap times as an example, we can see that this simply didn't happen. Lando's pace on the medium was of course faster than Daniel's on the hard, but it was also consistent, which was a very important factor in him making up places on those around him who were on the hards, including ultimately on Daniel for 6th position. This consistency of the medium tyre can also be seen by looking at the Mercedes cars of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. Of course, Lewis Hamilton has become known for being able to keep a set of tyres alive despite his complaints or concerns, and this was something we saw again in the Mexico City Grand Prix. Both Lewis and George ran the mediums from the restart to the end of the race, but Lewis was consistently posting lap times that were faster than George's, and even claimed the fastest lap on the final lap of the race on what at that point were 37-lap-old tyres. Mercedes may put this down to their ability to keep the tyre, brake and power unit temperatures in balance, but ultimately this may have also been because Lewis was running in free air and able to manage this without worrying about defending or attacking. Pirelli had brought a compound range to Mexico that was one step softer than 2022 to try and encourage teams to use the hard tyre more than they had done in the previous year's race, but also to make the two-stop a more attractive option for the teams. Despite this, many chose to stick with the trusted one-stop, unless they were Max Verstappen in the RB19 or out of position like Lando. McLaren's choice of this strategy for Lando was ultimately foiled by the red flag and restart, but their choice to stick with the medium tyre for this final stint arguably made his race. While we'll never know where Lando could have finished if he'd qualified better or taken the popular one-stop strategy, simulations suggest he could have ended the day fighting the Ferraris for the final podium spot, and given he was the driver with the most overtakes in the race with a total of 16, and also lapping similar times to both the frontrunners of Verstappen and Hamilton in their final stints, this could have been highly likely. What did you make of Lando's Mexico City Grand Prix? Let us know in the comments, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to Apex for more deep dives into the F1 world.